Welcome, friends, and welcome back to the Life Shift show, Switch show, and we are live. We are live, which is one of the beautiful things when you go live. It's that everything can happen, anything can happen. Last week we had a guest appearance by James, who is one of the team members from Creative Cruise Creative, and they're helping me run this show. And today we're a bit late. We are late because we had some technical issues, which is the fun of going live. So welcome to this week's episode. It's the episode 3. Again, this is a real show now. And today we have a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Yusuf Babar. So catch you on the other side where you'll meet him and listen to his story.
Oh, hello.
So this, my friends, is Yusuf Babar. So
guys.
I am super honored. I'm super happy to have him here. And I will, here's the thing. I want to make sure that we have as much time as possible to hear his story and have me ask him questions because there is so much to unpack here. So I'm going to make a short introduction just to allow people to get to know Yusuf a bit more. And then, of course, I'm going to be asking him some questions anyway, so people can share his story. So, Yusuf Babar, there are so many things to say about you. What I know that you've done in your life are some tremendous things. You're a professional athlete, a professional bodybuilder. You've got this brilliant story from how you kind of overcame some struggles in life, illness, stuff like this, and how bodybuilding actually saved your life. And I'm assuming, hoping that we might hear some more of that. When you're not just a bodybuilder, you're also, I'm going to say I'm biased, one of Sweden's top online personal trainers. And you are helping hundreds and hundreds of Swedes to get fit, get healthier, have a more balanced lifestyle every single day. And you've done so now for over a year, I think. And that's just 2 of those amazing things that I know about you. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Yusuf to this show. I am super thrilled. I think that you can tell that. I'm like a child before Christmas Eve. Yusuf, welcome and please.
Thank you.
Please tell me, how are you today? What's going on?
First off, thank you for that good introduction. I'm really happy to be here. I'm a little bit nervous, but I think when the conversation goes on, that will come down. But I'm feeling great today. I just actually moved. We're going to be here for 3 months in Tenerife. So the days are just getting better.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's the best thing about being on Tenerife?
For those who have been in Sweden or know somebody in Sweden, you have heard about the weather and the darkness and the cold. And I have been thinking about moving every year for 5 years. So the best thing about being here is feeling this feeling of, okay, I finally did it. I finally came here. And now I can finally get the true fruit, or what I should call it, from my online business, because I'm able to do this, and it's a blessing. So the best thing about being here is the appreciation of this online business and actually being able to go from the darkness and the cold to this kind of environment.
Yeah.
And actually meeting you too.
Yeah, I mean, we happen to have the fortune to actually now be much closer to each other, right? Which is quite nice. And just for anyone who's joining, if you're joining live, you're joining on Facebook or YouTube, you can leave a comment letting us know where in the world you are right now. You can say hello, and it's just going to pop up and show up for us as well, so we know that you're there. If you've got any questions during the show, things you want to ask Yusuf or me, you're always welcome to do so in the comment section. And again, for anyone who's joining, both me and Joseph, we speak Swedish. So this is a special episode where we are actually just choosing to speak English so that we can reach more people and allow them to listen into this conversation. Joseph, do you want to kind of tell people where you're from, your background a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm born in Sweden. My parents come from Pakistan, so I got this Desi Hindi culture. And I'm born in Stockholm, and I've been living there all my life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so, did you? I mean, as you said, you've got this bicultural upbringing. I would assume.
Yeah.
Like, I am curious.
Yes.
What what does your parents think about your career as an online coach, as a bodybuilder? Is that something that they were on board with? Did they support you? Were there questions?
The reason why I'm smiling when you're asking this question is because that has been like a big thing for me in my career, in my like bodybuilding career, and also in my business career. Because where I come from, it's very important to have a good education. You're either like you're supposed to be a doctor or a pilot, or like Jay Shetty said, because he's from India too, and I listen a lot to him, and he's like, or else you're a failure, and it's exactly like that for me too. So my parents had big dreams of me becoming this doctor, pilot, or something with banking, and I chose like the opposite thing. I was this guy. I had like muscles. I shaved my head, and they were like, I got some tattoos, and they were like, you look like a criminal. And I think I actually did all of some things, not all of them, but some things because of this cultural, uh, like burden, or what I should call them, because they were putting so much pressure on me, this cultural thing, that I just wanted to do everything opposite of what they wanted. Uh, so that has been a really like, now I can say that that's maybe one of the things that made me the person I am today. But during the times I lived with my parents, it was tough. It was hard. It was many times I like asked the question to the universe, like, why is this happening to me? Why can't they just support me? So it has been a big problem, and this online business, I don't think they understand it. They are getting there because now they are like, oh my God, he actually moved. He's actually in another country working. So now they are like getting it, but they still don't get it because they are so old school.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And, I find it interesting. It can be probably going to sound super young or super old. I don't know. But it's almost like it's a generation thing, this nomad lifestyle, digital lifestyle.
Yeah,
But also, I brought up the cultural thing because it's just like, I, you know, I know you a bit. You and I, we go back many, many years. We met at the personal trainer school, PT Distance, and we work together. So I kind of know some of the conversations you've had, some of the
yeah.
struggles, some of the rebellion with your culture, with your parents. So I find that interesting because, as you said, it's almost at a point you were fueled by that rebellion,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, of
right?
course, 100%.
Is that still part of the reason why you do some of the things you do, or?
I think it's so, I think it's so deep down in me. Like it's still this like feeling of me trying to get them to be proud of me. When I talk about it, I'm like, I don't want it to be that way because I want to do my own thing. I want to be like, yeah, be in charge of my own life and do it for me. But think sometimes I catch myself like doing things that I know that I actually don't want to do, but I then remember like, oh, okay, I'm trying to get a reaction from them. Sometimes I I'm not this person who talks a lot about my business in like, oh, it's going really well. I'm doing so good. But with my parents, when I meet them, I become that little boy, who wants to tell them how good I'm doing. So I can see like it's still in me, uh, and I'm working with it, because I don't want it to be, but it was so tough those years when they were like really trying, because I think in their mind they were trying to save me from the bad stuff. So they were really going at it, they were really like trying to not get me to do this like all the time. So I really had to like be like, no, I really want to do this. So sometimes I felt like they don't love me. How can they be so like, how can they be like this? I love this. Why can't they just support me? But now when I'm older, I can see that they were afraid of me like fail. But today, when I have won some titles, my name is getting a little bit bigger in the industry. I can see that they're proud, but I can also see that it's hard for them to like, oh my God, it worked, because
Yeah.
they are still like, how did it work?
Yeah. And I want to honor you for that, because I think, the fact that you can recognize that they kind of still wanted your best, like they did their best to protect you, as far as they knew what to do.
Yeah,
And I think that is, I'm not a parent, and I don't even know how to be one, to be honest, because I would probably do something very similar to your parents. I would want the best for my child,
yeah.
and doing that, I'd probably piss him or her off.
I have been thinking about that a lot of times, because I have now I know what kind of parent I don't want to be. I love my parents, but I have still like, I know what I don't want to my kid to go through if I have a kid one day. And I think it also comes from this, in my culture, in this Middle Eastern culture, it's really important to have like uh, people talking about your back, and you don't want to give them a reason. So you're trying to have this like perfect, like, I got this perfect family. Everyone is studying. Everyone wants to do things and follow this, like be a doctor, and if it is like that, you're fine, you're good. Like nobody will talk behind your back. But if you do something a little bit like different, then people will be like, who do they think they are? Why are they trying to do this? This doesn't work. This doesn't go hand in hand with our culture and our religion. And I think my parents, my father has like eight. He has seven brothers and three sisters, and my mother got like nine sisters and one brother. So we are a really big family. So it's really important to have this like good reputation. So when they saw me doing everything the opposite way, I they thought it was something wrong with me. Like, and then they start blaming themselves, and then they get angry. Like, no, no, it's not our fault. It's his fault. So I had to go through that. And when I'm talking about it right now, I don't talk about it a lot, uh, because I don't got so many people in my life from that culture anymore. Uh, but when I'm talking about it now, I can really realize how much that built me up. It forced me to really educate myself. It forced me to really like know my thing. It forced me to succeed, because when somebody approached me and asked me questions like, why are you doing this? Why are you dieting for 16 weeks to stand on stage for 2 minutes and then maybe not even win, and nobody can say why because the judges had another opinion? Why are you doing this? Why can't you do something else? And I had to really educate myself and really dig deep down, like to come up with answers, so I can have something to say. I didn't want to stand there like a question mark and be like, like a meathead. I wanted to inspire. And when people were like asking me, no, this doesn't. I had to educate myself, and I really like had to prove that this can actually. I just had this feeling in my gut that I don't know where this will lead. I don't know if this will make me money. I don't know if I can live, like, have a life where I can get paid by doing this. I just know that I love it. I just know that it creates this feeling in my body that I just feel like me, the head stops thinking and I can just work with my body. That was the only thing I loved so much. So I sacrificed the school because I didn't think it gave me so much. So I sacrificed our relationship too, because school for them was like, if you're not taking school seriously, you do not love us. That simple. So I had to really, that's why I realize now that, wow, they actually made me uh, perform better. Of course, it was hard, but it made me this person that I am today. The culture has been a big part, a big part.
It sounds like it, and from where I'm sitting, it sounds like it's definitely played a big part. And as you're saying, it forced you to succeed.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, like, okay, so besides the cultural, the family giving you some hard time, everything else was easy for you, right? I mean, you were already quite fit, quite big, quite muscular as a child, right? That was easy, or
That was another, if not even a bigger problem. I didn't have those genetics. The biggest, you know, the biggest like question mark for people when they heard that, hey, Yusuf is doing the bodybuilding thing was, why is he doing the bodybuilding thing? Because I was so skinny. I was known for being skinny, and also that was the thing that pushed me. That was my weakness, and I wanted to work on that weakness, and I had this idea in my head that what if I can like this can be my strength. What a story. I always think about that because I was listening to Les Brown, Jim Rohn, all these like Anthony Robbins, and they always had a story, like a story where their weakness become their strength. And I was like, maybe this weakness can be a gift. If I just like use it as one, then I always visualize like a picture in my head sitting in the sofa with like maybe three, four people and telling this story. And I was like, okay, this will be a great part in the story, always when something happens to me. So
yeah,
I was really skinny. I didn't have the genetics, and that was what pushed me to like, okay, I can't go to the gym and be like, eat some meals and be like, oh, okay. If I just want to reach their level, I need to work hard. If I want to go past the other people's level, I really need to know what I'm doing. So I started, really educate myself.
cool. So we've got a couple of people. Let me just introduce, like, just say hello to people joining in live. We've got a few guys joining in, which is fantastic. I'm glad that this is resonating with you. I know that someone asked about a before picture. I'm not sure that we are able to provide that right now. But if you are interested, just have a check on Joseph's social media feed, and the links are being flashed back and forth on this screen. You can easily see his journey there, and you often do share about that and talk about that, and I think that is an inspiration in itself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What I can say is to give you a picture in your head is my weight was like 59 kilos when I was 18 years old, and I'm like 78 centimeters long. So I was really like I had to go to I don't know what you call them in English, but this counselor or something to talk
Mm.
about my meal plan for the day when I was going to the school because I was so near to like this becoming something could harm me. So I
Yeah.
was in that spot where really people were really like, the last thing that he should do is bodybuilding.
So I don't know if you want to go there, but this is something that we've talked about this a little bit, and I know that you've opened up around this before. At one point, you got really sick, and the only thing that actually stood in the way, from you surviving and dying was the fact that you had about 2 kilos more of muscles or something like that.
Yeah, so
What's that
so
about? If you're
yeah,
open to share.
yeah, of course. I don't talk about this so often, and I don't know actually why. Maybe I'm not ready, but now when you ask it, I really want to talk about it. And the thing that happened was I got really sick, like really sick. From one day I was like super normal, going to the gym, uh, yeah, doing the stuff I do, and the other day I was lying in the hospital, and the doctor were telling my parents like, we're doing the best we can, and we hope that we will find what is happening because we don't know. So they were like trying every antibiotics on me because they didn't know where the problem came from, and I was getting weaker and weaker. My lungs collapsed. My body was getting poisoned. Yeah, there you have a before and after picture also.
I'm sorry, in the middle of this story, but that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
in
you're
that
saying, yeah.
picture, I was
So
like 15 years
you,
old, 16 years old in the
so
first
this
picture.
illness
Yeah,
was causing you to drop in weight and just losing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because my lungs collapsed and they were like holding a lot of water. So in I couldn't eat or drink because the things weren't working as normal. So could not give me food because they didn't know what would happen with the food. And if the food were stuck in my body too long, it became poisonous. So they couldn't give me anything but medicine and I were like lying there for 30 days, I think. Yeah, 30 days, and I was getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And I actually had another person in the same room having the same thing. It's not so usual from what they told me, but this other guy had the same thing. He was like 1 2 years. I think it was the same. He was the same age as me, actually, maybe 1 2 years difference, and he waited like I think it was, yeah, 5 kilos less than me, and I had really pushed food, and I had really gained some weight because I wanted to do this bodybuilding thing that I really felt was the thing I needed to do, and the days were like going, and on the like 15th day he passed away because his weight went down too much. And on that day, I actually woke up. So I was sleeping for that amount of time, and I woke up, and everything just started to go up. And the doctor was like, "This is a miracle. We don't know why, but he's getting better." And we are thankful that he had those extra kilos because if his weight was down like 2 3 kilos more, it will be a very dangerous situation where he couldn't like recover from. Uh, and that was when because when I got sick, my parents, the first thing they thought of was like, we were so right. This bodybuilding thing is now killing him. What is he taking? Like they went home, they took all my supplements. I was buying my own supplements, and they handed it over to the lab to see if there was something like some steroids or something crazy poison in them. And the doctor came back and was like, actually, some of these things and his weight is what saved him. And that was crazy for me to hear, because when I heard that, I just got the connection just got a lot stronger. It felt that the training and the bodybuilding had given me another chance, and I got some kind of loyalty to it.
Yeah, I can see
And
that.
everything changed from that on.
Yeah.
Everything changed, because that was when the first thing I said to myself when I woke up was like, I'm actually not gonna, because in my culture, my parents are Islamic, and I have been raised that way. And the first thing I wanted, like, the intention was like, before I'm a Muslim, I want to be a human. Like, I want to just be a human and do the things my gut tells me to do, and that is training. So I'm actually not gonna put my valuable time and effort on school. I'm actually gonna go for the bodybuilding thing.
Yeah, and I kind of want to go into that and just to have a quick understanding of how well that served you. I saw a comment that there seems to be some crackling of the mic. Maybe it's hitting your belt. If you want to, you can try also to change the setting for the mic,
Yeah.
switching to maybe the camera or something like that. In case it's the headset. And that might be in the way of the audio. Let's see if we
So
can.
now it should be the webcam mic.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
and I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I guess my colleagues might need to tell me, and we might need to switch back.
Okay.
So you just said that that kind of that experience, it actually made you more loyal to this whole thing,
Yeah.
and I'm curious to know, and maybe for people who are not so familiar with bodybuilding, in as short as you can you tell me a little bit about the successes, the things that you've gone through, the achievements that you've done in the industry of bodybuilding?
Yeah. So I started my first competition 2015, and that time I placed second. And actually, my goal with that competition was not to place last. So second for me was like, oh my God, this is really me. Like, maybe the judges like me. So I was hooked. So I did another competition, the Swedish Nationals, the juniors, and I placed last. So that was like a question mark, a big question mark. And I know I took it really hard, really hard. I was like, is this universe testing me, or like, what is happening? I was supposed to win this, and I actually broke. I felt broke. I
Yeah.
felt like my heart broke, and but I still wanted, like, this is not how it's going to last. And that was also, if I can just take it in, this cultural parent pressure. I was like, I will not let them win this one. I can't go home and just be like, and quit, and they will be like, I told you so all my life. So I started to get ready for the third competition, and in that competition I placed fourth, and that was also a failure for me. I was like, I'm not a I'm not a fourth. I'm not number four. You know, I was uh, the placings. I took it personally. I took it like the placing, that is what uh, defines me. That was my big mistake. That's what I learned later. But the placing for me was like, okay, if I am fourth, it means I'm fourth in everything, and that's not true. But that was how I took it then. But I continued, because I was like, I want to get that first place. I want to get that first place so bad. I'm going to go till I collapse. So I did the fourth competition, and I placed second, like the same point, the same amount of points as the first one, and the first taker. And here I was like, really? Come on, what? We got the same points, and I become second. The same day, I did this another competition, and I lost again with the same point. And this time, I lost to my cousin, who I was coaching also in that competition. So that actually felt like my first victory. It was
Yeah.
an odd feeling because I was like, if I had won now, it would feel good. But because of he like he won, it feels even I think it feels even better. I think it feels greater. And that was when I was thinking about maybe I should help other people win. I can't win. Maybe I'm better at helping other people win. Maybe I should focus on that. So I took some time off. I took like 7, 8 months off, and I was only coaching. But then this bodybuilding like energy kicked back, and I was like, okay, now I'm going to another competition, and I'm also going to change the class from to classic bodybuilding from men's physique. Men's physique is when you have these shorts, you have shorts on stage, and
Yeah.
classic bodybuilding is when you have the trunks, the bodybuilding trunks. And then from there, something clicked. Something happened because of me taking those 7, 8 months off and really working hard. In the first competition in 2017, I placed first, and I also won the trophy for best poser. And then I also won like you have your class and you have the overall class. I also won the overall class. From there, I went to Swedish nationals. I won everything there, and from there they wanted me to go for the Swedish the national Swedish team, compete for Sweden. And here everything was like crazy because now uh, I was getting the photo shoots, I was getting the sponsors, I was getting the covers, and seeing me on a cover, it was really nice but odd. And my parents were like, from being this, oh, he's, I don't know what he's doing, he's gonna be a doctor someday, we think. They were now showing my covers to everybody, like taking pictures, getting them on their Facebook. And here was what everything was changing for me. So I went and did the Nordic Championship and won everything there too. And now I was like, I'm the Swedish classic bodybuilder, the hope. Everyone was like, okay, this kid is going all the way. He's gonna do all the things, not the sweet like we have been waiting for. And I was once again in a position where I wanted to make people proud. And the first time on my competition, I think the reason why I came last or I came forward because I was not living up to my full potential because I was trying to make a point. I was trying to make my parents proud. So I was not working with that, the heart and nice, telling myself nice things in my head. I was pushing myself and like hitting myself to win. The difference in when I started to win, I was more like, hey, I'm just gonna do this, and then I started to win. But now I came back after I'm winning so many competitions. Came back to this like feeling of I want to now everybody believes in me, and I really need to live up to their expectations. I really need to perform. Now I really need to be a lot better. I can't be better. I need to be a lot. And that was my fault. That was what I couldn't take so much pressure. So when I went to the European Championship where I placed sixth, but of like 30 competitors, it was still not enough for me because I had these high expectations. And from there I couldn't like stop because I was feeling this destructive like I need to or else I don't even want to be here. So I did two competitions and I placed third in both. And third for me was not something. special in that way, because when I did this, the last competition, I wanted to get a pro card, and if you want a pro card, you have to win. If you don't win, it doesn't really matter so much. And that was my fault. That was my all my competitions and my achievements, and from there, I had to figure out some stuff.
Mm. And that kind of brings, I mean, at least me and this conversation in a way, I think, to maybe this conversation's topic, like why strong people break.
Yeah,
I mean, because there you were, not just because, you know, if you go back to listen to what you just shared so far, this strength that you built despite cultural, family setbacks, health setbacks, even when you started your competition, when you went into competitions, you placed, you know, not at the first, or you didn't win. So even though you had all of those setbacks, you still progressed, you still kept going, right? And I think that is really impressive, and it shows the loyalty, it shows the drive that you had. And then you reach that ceiling, that end point where for some reason, for whatever reason, it just didn't, like what had got you there didn't take you to the next level. Can you tell me a little bit, and you know, for anyone who's listening into this, what does this whole thing about what was it that you realized about why strong people break, and how did that play a role in your life?
for me at that time, I thought about like I love this so much, and I got this, like I know so much about it, and this is all I know. So this is all I have to do. I need to stop focusing on other stuff. I need to focus more on this. I need to have more muscles. I need to put more time. I need more supplements. I need more food. I need more of everything. So
Mm,
so I like, for me, getting better was to do more. And I think
mm,
it's easy to be like that when you are like this strong guy who wins and always shows up and takes like goes to the gym, is always in shape. You're supposed to be this always seeking for more, and when you don't seek for more, you think something's wrong with you. So when my body was telling me to stop, I was like, oh my god, this is my weak mindset. Because when you look at these motivational speakers, you look at you hear what these big guys have to say. They're always like, don't you rest, don't you dare to rest, just go at it, push, and when you don't feel like pushing, push anyway. And that was all I knew. I didn't know what I was supposed to do when I rested. I had ignored like my family. I had ignored my relationships. I had procrastinate my work and a lot of other things. And because of that, I had like so many things I actually needed to take responsibility for.
mm,
But I also wanted to do more because I wanted to be this great bodybuilder. So it was just a matter of time from when the reality was going to,
catch up.
catch up. And
Yeah.
that was happened. And I think that is why like strong people break, because they don't think reality will catch up, because they are these strong human beings that have always pushed through. They take it for granted. They take their strengths for granted. They think that there is no stopping them, and this
Mm,
dominant. When someone was telling me, hey, have you been thinking about this? I was like, okay, that's a hater. That's a hater right there, because that was what I was learning from these motivational speakers. That
mm,
if someone like my parents were haters in my eyes. So when someone was asking questions like them, I was like, I know that question, and I know what you want. You just want me to feel bad about myself. I'm actually gonna push even harder now and show you. So I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I think a lot of people who are strong, they want to show people what they can do. And when you do it for someone else, I think you're holding back your greatness. And that was what I think.
I like that. Can you explain a little bit more about what you mean with that?
I think, when you're the thing that broke me the most was my expectations. And my expectations came from what other people thought I should do. When you become this guy who achieves, you win, you become this like future kid who is going to be something big. A lot of people want to be an influence. A lot of people want to be a part of that journey. They come in and they want to tell you what to do and how to do it and how you should think. And when you hear it a lot, I'm the kind of person that sees the good in people. So I don't see if they got a catch in it, and I'm like, okay, this maybe he or she wants to help me. And I took advice from people and try to live to their expectations that wasn't even realistic. I had been dieting for a whole year, and I had been doing 11 competitions in a row without like giving me the rest. And uh, that was because I had this feeling that I thought if I perform, I am worth love. Every time when I was a kid and did something good, like achieved something or performed, if I kicked a goal in the soccer game, if I came home with a good grade, then I got love. I got this happy, I love you, a hug, and I'm so proud of you being my son. So that stuck with me. And when I was doing this bodybuilding thing, I was like, if I can't perform, I'm strong, so I'm born to perform. And if I can't perform, then what am I? What am I doing here? I'm not worth anything. And I think I can't say that it's like this for everybody, but if you think about it, you can maybe relate. I don't know.
I I have to say, this relates to me. I'm sure it relates to almost anyone out there. And I dare to say that because if you listen to what Joseph just said, like, you know, thinking you need more in order to be happy, right? Thinking you need to accomplish, thinking you need to feel praise, get praised in order to feel worthy or receive love, to belong, all kinds of things. I have to say, I think all of us are struggling with that in some way. And
Yeah,
you see that in overachievers, high performers. You see this in people pleasers. You see this even in some cases of addiction. It can be addictive, you can be addicted to Netflix or gambling or video games. But I'm absolutely sure that when we pair up, we define who we are with what we do or what people give us, like the attention people gives us. If that's how we define ourselves, then it almost becomes almost automatic that of
yeah,
course you want more of that.
exactly.
And I think and the crazy thing is, and this is why I like your concept around like why strong people break, because it's in a way, and this maybe you recognize this, you got to that place because you pushed yourself.
Yeah,
So it's like some successful people, a lot of the successful people I know, I've coached or been around or even listened to, as you said, talk about Les Brown or Tony Robbins and people like this. They got to be successful because they had that trauma, because they had that drive, that hunger. And at the same time, I've also seen how there's almost like an invisible ceiling to where they can go.
Yeah,
Like when you're fueled by anger, greed, revenge, any kind of like those emotions, there is a limit to how far you can go, I think.
that's so true. Yeah, but because when you're saying it, it clicks, and I can, like, really see that it's true, because that was I stopped competing when I was starting to feel better, because I didn't have this pain and this
Yes.
drive. So when I was in the gym, I was like, this is not gonna do it. Where is you know, the
Hunger.
the hunger? And then I realized that the hunger was in the pain. I'm not in pain anymore. I'm actually feeling good, so I can't find it. I actually have to develop a new kind of strategy in who I want to be in the gym.
Mm,
And that's also important for people to know, because I'm not saying that you should not push yourself. I'm not saying that you should not be uncomfortable. I'm not saying that life is not going to be hard if you just become this, I'm not gonna push. It's actually gonna become harder. But I'm saying that the, this strong mindset kind of people, we are not wired to listen to our bodies. I'm saying that if we become better at like listen to the signals our body, the signal are trying to tell us, then we can go even farther. Then we can go longer. We don't have to break and then go up, break all the time and then go up.
mm,
I didn't like hit the wall one time. I hit it three, four times. So I
mm,
was the first two times I didn't even know what it was. I was just like pushing myself through it. And the last time I couldn't, because the wall was like too hard.
mm,
And the wall doesn't need to be that hard if you become better at reading your body's signals. And
mm,
that's what I want to tell people, that push, but push with a strategy, push in periods. And
mm,
also remember that if you have a period where you're going to push, also plan a period of rest and
mm,
then push. So instead of like going like this downwards, you go up, you rest, you go up,
mm,
you rest, and
mm.
you come higher and higher. That's what I want to tell you. All the people who can relate, if you can relate, because I didn't find this information anywhere, uh, and that was when it clicked for me. Like, this is my message. This is what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, and that reminds me, or at least, yeah, it reminds me of because I've followed some of the things that you've done in your professional career as an online coach and a hands-on coach for some of your athletes as well. And from where I've been seeing this, it seems like your professional athletes that you've been coaching the last year and year and a half, they've outperformed.
Yeah.
And from what you've shared with me before, that is based on the system that you've kind of developed based on where you picked yourself up.
Yeah.
You've managed to find a system, a method where you get to have your athletes ready way before time, being at a great level and being able to maintain that how do you say that, like performance.
Yeah.
So is because I'm now connecting it, is that part of your journey from pushing, 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 crashing, pushing, 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 crashing? Did that help you develop that system?
100%, because that was when I was like, okay, I'm gonna spread this message, and I'm also gonna implement it on the people I coach.
Mm,
uh, I was like, this is gonna be the thing that makes me unique, because I can't see anyone else talking about it. And this is where I can come in. And like when a client tells me, hey, I don't know what's happening, but I've got this weird feeling in my stomach and it's bloated, and last night when I slept, I keep waking up in the middle of the night and I'm feeling thirsty all the time. Then I can be like, okay, then I know what's going on in your body and we actually need to do this. So because of my background and because of the hard struggles, I learned to read the signs from the body. So when my athletes or my clients were feeling this way, I had a solution ready. Uh, and that was what made me grow, because the people weren't just getting results, they were getting results that stuck with them. They were getting results that they learned something from. So I was not this coach like, "Hello, Adam, I will get you in shape. Let's lose 8 kilos." I was more like, "Hello, Adam, how can we lose 8 kilos and stay there?" And if you want that, I think the first thing you need to do is work with the mind and see how the people think that you're coaching. And that was actually what I think is unique in my coaching right now.
Yeah.
This kind of like attitude towards competing too. And the important things to know is the things will take more time because of this strategy, because we won't just do a 8 to 10 weeks diet. Diet will be longer, but you will get better results when you keep it.
The sustainability.
Yeah,
And also, what I've heard you say or mention before, some of your athletes felt like they were cheating because they felt so good up
yeah,
until a few days before the contest.
yeah. So in the bodybuilding, like I don't know if anyone have heard, but when you do a competition, you want to lose water, and you want to be in this dry shape. And I was like, that's the part of the bodybuilding diet when you get the most like uh, you get it gets really painful. You get really like drained out because you're pushing yourself through things that doesn't even make sense. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. Why are we doing like this? Why can someone look really good 1 week out and then you do this water thing and then they it seems like they want to die. So I was like, what if we just keep it basic and normal and balanced? And I try to just do the things, reading the signs, like if they were like, hey, I haven't been to the toilet for 3 days, I'm not feeling good. I was like, drink, just drink, and your body will find a way to adapt. Before that, when I didn't know this kind of things when I was coaching, I was like, don't just push through, man.
Yeah, push
Just
through.
push through. And they were like getting blue, and so
Yeah.
when I started to more read these kind of signs, then I became like, oh, this is actually a thing. I can use this for everything. My own my lifestyle clients
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. And I was going to say that because would you say that what you've learned about how to build a physique, how to succeed in dieting, exercise, and in life in general, I have to say, based on the successes that you in almost any area you've gone into, you've created some level of success for yourself. Would you say that the things that you've learned, do they only apply to professional athletes, people wanting to compete, or is it more general than that?
It's actually more general, and you actually need to start coaching professional athletes more general too, because sometimes this is the concept of wanting more. You get someone into shape and they are in shape, and somehow you got this crazy idea of that they can become in better shape, and you start to push more. You start to uh, take out water, no salt, just stop eating, nothing, you know. You push them because you want even more. That was when I was like, okay, this is the strong people mentality. They always
Yes.
want more. They get good results and then they push it and everything falls. And that was happening my clients and me all the time. And I was
Yeah.
like really frustrated because we were actually doing more too.
Mm.
Then I tried this new method of just taking general lifestyle coaching into the athletes and be like, hey, don't do anything. Just keep doing what we did when you felt good.
Mm.
And then they started winning. You know, my fiance Louise got her pro card. Didn't even get my pro card, so that was a big moment. She got her pro card, and the
Yeah.
athletes started to win competitions, and I've it just clicked.
There's something in your story which I haven't actually seen before. I think when you shared it today, you had when you discovered that you didn't. It's almost like you lost the pain, and in losing the pain, you didn't really have maybe the drive or whatever. But to me, it seems like you found another way to be driven. It's like when you discovered how that you wanted to help people, when you discovered that you could help people. To me, it felt like you found a different force to rely on.
Yeah,
Does that make sense to you?
yeah,
Because and you know what we said before, that sometimes if you're doing the things you're doing for the wrong reasons, revenge or to prove yourself or get external reward or something like that, that will take you only so far. And then you kind of found this way to tap into the contribution, giving back and supporting people, helping people. And this is around the time when if I'm correct, that you kind of launched your online business, started bringing in more clients, starting to be serious about coaching your athletes. And in all of this, as you said with your fiance as well, you know, supporting her getting to that level of taking the gaining the pro card, even though you didn't, right? And you mentioned your cousin before as well, where you felt some gratitude, you felt something different than pain from all of
yeah,
that.
yeah. So what happened actually was that after all this competition where I really pushed myself to the ground, I became unconnected to everything. I was so tired and I was feeling so down that the only thing I could do was to sleep. And if I had to do something, I couldn't do anything else. And let me give you an example. Maybe it's Monday today, and my only task today is to go out with the garbage. And if I if I have done that, then it's a nice day.
It's a win, yeah.
It's a win. And another day, it's Tuesday. Today, the only task I can do is to call because of this bill. Yeah. And I need to figure it out. So I need to call them and ask them what it is. And after that call, I was like, oh my God, this felt like a workout. So I was so unconnected and I was not feeling to do anything, not to talk to people. And this was really hard for me to take. Imagine someone who's doing so many things, getting covers, and is known for his hard work and perseverance and yeah, always showing up. And now it's a struggle to get yourself a glass of water. So this was like, this was, I was in this position in like 3, 4 months, and it was this dark winter days in Sweden. So that didn't make it any better. And
No.
here I was like, oh my God, I just want to get my business going or do something. Imagine if you can live in another country with sun and nice environment. And so I wanted to do things, but I didn't know how. And so I seeked help. I seeked help. I called and was like, I need to talk to somebody because I can't figure out what is going on with me. And I had a psychologist, and we had we were having like these sessions 2 times a week, and this was, to call. I can't even forget that phone call. To pick up the phone and ask someone to help you,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even know with what, just help.
Mm.
That was so, it was hard to do.
Mm.
I was helping people with that. So we started to do these sessions, and I was actually getting to feel a little bit better, but it's still like I had this feeling I was not getting further. I could just go to the session. I went home and felt a little bit better. But now when I felt a little bit better, then my old like idea personality started to come back, and I wanted to do so much things. But because of me having so many ideas, I could not figure out what to choose, and that made me sleepy. That made me tired because it was
Mm.
so much. It was like a workout in my
Overwhelmed.
head, overwhelmed. So then I remembered that I know a guy whom I've been talking to about this, and I thought about you, and you have been
Mm.
writing to me, and we had met after all the trophies in a competition, and
Okay.
we had talked about this, and I was like, he actually told me to reach out if and you just launched your coaching business, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, you have been doing it for some months. And then we took some calls, and I remember we talking about this, like, why am I feeling so unconnected? And then when I told you this story, we came back to this, that I always felt good when I did things for other people.
Mm.
And that was what saved me, that we found the like thing for me to
Mm.
focus on, because I helped myself through helping others. And then I got this connected feeling and
Mm.
started to get like this strength and energy back. And that was when I started everything, and everything was like I was like getting to know what I actually like to do
Yeah. Yeah.
without getting, credit. I just felt this good feeling
Mm.
when I knew that because of me, somebody else's life is better. I heard Will Smith say this in a video, and I started to cry when he said it, because it just connected with me so much. And he said, like, my only focus is to I'm here so I can make somebody else's life better, and that is my like main focus. If I can't do that, then I have no meaning, and that just clicked with me. So the online, that was when I was like, this is what I'm gonna do.
And you're doing it. You're
Yeah.
absolutely doing it. I know that for sure.
And
So,
it feels great. And
yeah.
also I want to like really lift this up. Maybe some people will see this later, maybe some people are seeing it now, but it doesn't mean that I don't get the push mentality. I'm gonna do all the things now. I want to do everything. I get it all the time, and that was what I meant when in the beginning I said that sometimes this boy can awake, this boy who wants to make his parent proud, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
do stuff that don't really even connect or make sense to me, but I still do them, and maybe I do them for 1 week, and then I realize, hey, this is not what I want to do. I'm becoming better and better
Mm.
and faster on getting like, this is not what I want to do. So
Yeah.
before it maybe took 1 year, then it took 2 months. Now it can be 2 days, and I can be like,
Yeah.
this is not what I want to do. So I always get the old me back. I'm still that guy. I will always be. I just need to build routines and strategies and have like people like you and a team around me that can like remind me of what I really like to do.
Mm. Yeah, I want to thank you for saying that because I think that is super important to know as well that just because we've kind of learned something new, it doesn't mean that it's always going to be happy sunshine. This is part of a conditioned way that you've done things. It's part of your identity, if you like, and it's going to come back and remind you. It's going to make itself known, and
Yeah,
it's not about, it's not really about if it happens. It's really about, like, how are you dealing with it when it
exactly,
happens.
exactly.
It's
What
good.
is like, yeah, what exactly? What are you doing about it, and how are
Yeah,
you handling them?
yeah,
And
precisely.
that's what defines us, because it takes a lot of time to reprogram your childhood or like your youth. And I'm still like, I'm not perfect. I still have these battles a lot of times. If I miss out on my workouts, if I miss out on my routines, just for 1 week, I can be back in the ground just feeling awful.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It is, as you said. I like what you said. It's not really what happened that defines us. It's more like, what will we do? What do we
Yeah,
do when it happens?
exactly.
That's kind of what defines us. And I think that is super important. And from your standpoint, it really seems like that's one of the lessons that you've gathered from all your experiences, because you've even been there, competing, getting rewards, medals, trophies for being the best. And at times, sometimes you weren't. And you're not allowing that to define yourself, but
No.
actually, who are you becoming? Who are you choosing to be in this moment?
Yeah, because that was also the crazy part of winning. And as I said in the beginning of this interview, the only thing I wanted was to win so bad. But when I won, it was this empty feeling of like, is this is this everything I wanted? What does this even mean? Who did I win for? Like, what will happen now? And
Yeah.
of course, nothing happened because it was just a win
Yeah.
because of someone else's opinion of you.
Yeah. So we're closing in on the end of this hour. We're actually a bit over that. And based on what you just kind of said, it reminds me of one of the last questions I want to ask you. Like, if you could go back to your 14-year-old self or 15-year-old self and give yourself one advice, what would you tell yourself?
Uh, Actually, I have been thinking about one thing that I'm really proud of myself because of this thing, and this is that I actually always believed in myself. That was why I continued, and that was why I had the balls to say no to my parents and say I'm gonna do this.
Yes.
And because when I thought about that, I was like, why do I believe in myself so much? Maybe I'm crazy or weird. I will go back and tell me like, no, you're not. You are connected, and this is a strength. And I wish that I could see it more as a strength than feel like an alien.
Yes. Yes. Very, very beautifully put. Yeah.
Thank you. And I hope like now this has like gone over an hour because my answers are so long.
No.
I hope I answered all your questions.
For sure, definitely. And the thing is, I know that I could easily go on for another hour,
Yeah,
easily. And I'm
yeah,
thinking maybe that's what we should do. Like, we should have you back on, and we can go, somewhere else with that conversation.
yeah,
And I am sure that people watching this, listening to this concept of why strong people break, I think it is important because it's not just tied to competition or performance. It's really about, that can be life work balance. It can be a career. It can be health. It can be relationships. It's really this. And I think in all of the things you've shared today, there are some really powerful lessons for sure. And I do want to honor you for if you had the chance to go back, you would say, stay in that position of believing in yourself. Don't fear, don't be weird. Like, you're not weird. You belong there.
Yeah.
I think it is important. I think that belief really served you, and it's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
serving you.
yeah. And this can also be a message for the people who listen, or who will listen, that if you are in a place in your somewhere in your life, in a job or in a relationship, or yeah, in your family, if you have this gut feeling that's trying to tell you something, I think you're feeling something. Listen to it, because in 10 years, maybe you will do exactly the thing that your gut were telling you to do.
Yeah.
And just by listening to that gut feeling now, you can save yourself 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That's the message. Cool. So, Joseph, thank you very much for being on the show today. We did go a bit longer. We had some technical
Yeah,
difficulties and everything, and I'm
I
super
really
grateful.
enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It was really
Yeah,
nice.
I
Yeah.
could tell. I could tell, and I'm super happy to be able to share your message with the audience today. So thank you very much. I'm happy to have you on again, because we can easily do this for sure. So yeah, again, thank you very, very much.
Thanks a lot. See you soon.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.
So, guys, I apologies for going on so long, but this is really hard when you put two people like me and Joseph together and we start talking about these deep stuff. And Joseph really did go deep from the very start. I'm surprised. I'm honored. I am super excited, and I really hope that this was useful to you. And I'm quite sure it was. Like, it was enlightening for me. So thank you very much for staying with me today, listening to this, supporting this. And for anyone who was on live, thank you very much. I love the comments. I love the questions and the engagements. Please hang on to next week's episode, because next week we are talking to one of... well, another idol of mine, I have to say, Rob Blanchard. And he is a guy who's running this amazing thing called Just Rise. Just Rise is based on his own personal journey from basically falling and picking himself up, not just once or twice, maybe several times. Now, he's going to have to tell you the story. And if you want to hear it, you should be on that live show, which is next week, Wednesday, at 5 p.m. London time. And you know where to find us. You can subscribe on YouTube, you can like on Facebook, you can follow us there, and that way you will get updated and notified when we go live, and you can make sure to not miss any of these episodes. Okay, again, thank you for being here. I really enjoyed it. So be well, and I'll see you next week.